So this may not relate to everybody, but I would think that most people, especially if you're like, I'm gonna say 20 years older or up, you got spankings when you were little. And some people call them spankings, some people call them whoopings. It doesn't matter what you call them, they hurt. And it doesn't matter if you got spanked with the hand or you got spanked with the belt. And I know some people say that that belt is technically abuse. And I would say to that you can believe what you want to believe. And I'm not going to out anybody. Call my mother today and say that she whooped me with a belt. And I'm not going to say that those belts wasn't a variety of belts. And I'm not going to say that those belts eventually turned into like switches and other things. But that's neither here nor there. All I can say is that as a child, I deserved the spankings that I got. And I believe that my mom, by not sparing the rod and spoiling the child, she actually put me in the position to be where I am now, which who knows if this is what you call success. We don't know. But I would like to say that I'm a better man for my mom putting her hands on me. Okay, there, I said it. But the point that I want to get to today is when you were getting spankings. You know what? Let me first address this. When you were getting spanked, did y'all cry with like a after cry that was like three chest cries? It was always like peculiar to me that it was never like two or four chest huffs. It was always like three, and they would always sound like and I never understood why it was never like a huh or huh. It's like almost like the cry had rhythm and it couldn't let out in like a 2 beat or a 4 beat. It had to be like the three chest cries. That's neither here nor there. But all I can say is that my mom had this phrase, right? And when I got spanked, and I would be walking away. It was always like I was already in my room or I was somewhere nearby. My mom would say a phrase that is still peculiar to me to this day. And you may be familiar with this phrase, but she used to say, "You better stop crying before I give you something to cry about." And I often, when my mom said that, I was confused. I was confused. Even as a kid, I was like, what does she mean by that statement? Like, she's saying to me after she spanked me that she's actually going to give me something to cry about. And my logic, even as a little teeny bopper, was wait a minute, you've already given me something to cry about. Hence, the crying that I'm doing, it derived from the belt, shall I say, that spanked me on the bottom, and therefore that led me into an all-out cry in which I have yet not recovered from. So I do not get the concept that you're asking me to stop the crying that you made me cry before you give me something to cry about. And it was just the about part of that because I'm like, yo, you've you've already given me enough to cry about. And I wouldn't be crying had not you did what you did, but now I'm getting threatened. Anyway, it's just confusing to think about even today. It's like I just don't get the concept. But I know one thing. When my mom said, "You better stop crying before I give you something to cry about," those three chest cries, they just evaporated. I no longer did the three chest cries because even if she did already give me something to cry about, I didn't want to give her more ammo to give me more reason to cry and then keep that cycle of me crying and then her giving me something to cry about to make me cry to then cry again for her to give me something to cry about. It just seemed like a cycle that I didn't want to be. And you may be confused as I'm confused right now. But either way, I would like to say this. I believe that sin in your life often has the same position that my mom took. Sin often is beating your butt. It is truly belt to butt. And if you're caught up in sin, and there's an array of sin that you could be caught up in. You could be stuck right now in the throes of addiction. You could be stuck right now in the throes of being a deceiver and a liar. You could be all alone like a full bank robber. Who knows? Maybe pornography's got you. Maybe like this lust filled pornography has actually led to adultery and now you're in an affair. Like whatever the case may be, we could keep going down the line. But normally when you're caught up in sin, which we all know that the wages of sin is death. So anytime you use your sin currency, the only thing that you can get back from that withdrawal is death. So if you use the sin currency for pornography, the result of the withdrawal is a death receipt. If you use the sin currency for theft or lies or manipulation, the drawback from that, the withdrawal from that is a death receipt. And the thing about sin, the thing about the enemy, is that when you're participating in sin, it almost seems that sin is beating you down. It's literally spanking you. But sin has the same notion that my mom had. And even though sin is spanking you and is giving you all that you can handle and you're beat down, sin does not care. Sin will say, you better stop crying before I give you something to cry about. It has no conscience. It does not let up. And you ask, what in the world does all of this mean? Well, I tell you this. There was reasons, as I said, why I got spanked as a child. I definitely I can't count me getting whoopings that I did not deserve, spankings that I did not deserve. I think every spanking I got, I deserved because it was a result of the actions I was displaying. And if I didn't want that cycle of getting spanked and then possibly getting spanked after getting spanked, then my best course of action was to free myself from the situation that I was wrapped up in. I would say today that if sin got you by the grip, if you've already maxed out on your credit card of sinful behavior, then today I just want to be of an encouragement to let you know that you do not have to allow that sin to keep spanking you. Yeah, you could say, you know what? I have been beaten down enough. I am putting down the bottle. I am putting down the phone. I'm going to confess. I'm going to lay these things down at the altar and I'm going to ask God to create in me a clean heart so that I can walk out this life without getting my butt handed to me. Do not allow sin to continue to spank you. Get out of there. The only way and the only wages of sin is death. And today, I want you to know that Jesus said, I have come to give you life and life abundantly. It's the enemy that steals. Go get back what he took from you. This is Black Sheep TV, where there's no man left behind. It's a reminder that Jesus will always chase the one and leave the 99.